I cracked myself up. I was just doing a little X gonna give it to you type deal. Just kind of having fun. And to be honest with you, the reason why I'm doing this, I'm kind of bored. If you guys are just kind of figuring out what's going on with me, I'll kind of reiterate what's going on. I'm not doing Xbox Nation anymore. I'm not doing Crossfire anymore. Just M&C. That's not to say I'll never do those shows ever again or anything like that, but just current circumstances and stuff like that makes it kind of difficult to be able to do all that stuff. So as you guys shuffle in, please like the video and share it out. And again, I always feel like the few fans that I have are that way because they feel like there's a little bit of a personal touch there, like when I'm here doing the live streams, and I feel like I can get that out a little bit better during the live streams about what's going on. So if you guys didn't know, man, do you guys understand? I don't know if any of you guys have ever been hurt, but it is such a weird thing, right? And I haven't been able to, like, leave the house for, like, over a week. And it's just because the way my injuries are affecting me. So I have the knee sprain on the left knee, and I have a arthritic ankle from my football playing days on the right, which flared up due to the fact that I was putting too much weight on that and walking awkwardly, trying to overcompensate for the left knee. So it's left me in this state of can't do much. And, doctors and, everybody's just like, ice it, elevate it, blah, blah, blah. And so it's just like a wait and kind of see thing, but it can get rather depressing. You know what I mean? So I thought, hey, little cool stuff to talk about. I saw some Phil Spencer interviews. Why the hell not talk about some stuff like that? Yeah. I see you, Y9 Power. I don't need to announce anything. I'm still going to do these shows and do videos here and there, but I just wanted to kind of have some fun with that stuff. Oh yeah, I hear you, One Typical. Listen, I'm not like foolish. Like, I know it seems extra peppy, but look, I'm not in a bad mood. I think Xbox did okay yesterday. Like I said during the live stream yesterday, it's not like I think that Xbox did terrible. The problem that Xbox is having right now is it looks like, and this is maybe just coincidence, but it looks almost like they're going like straight up Disney Channel or something. And I've seen some interesting comparisons. Like, here's the games that Microsoft started off with this generation. Dead Rising 3 looked really realistic and really good. You had Rise, of course. Then you had the racing games, and Titanfall looked good. And and now we're getting yesterday's show. It's funny if you look down at the clips of each show. Like, yeah, it is kind of funny in a way that everything looked pretty much the same graphically. So that's what's up. Hellspawn says, take your time, Crap. We do what you really feel. Hope you get better. Yeah, you know what? I'm feeling much better today. Not nearly as stuffed up, but yeah, it is. That's also a little bit depressing. I don't know. Like, some people, it's difficult sometimes. You know what I mean? Luckily, my girl and stuff and the family have been really supportive and helpful of me, but it has been a little bit stirring. I don't know if you guys know, my life has been kind of taking care of dogs and animals and that kind of stuff, and so I never take a vacation. Like, I haven't had a vacation, I don't think, like a vacation in 20 years. I remember when I first got a kennel job and I worked my way up to manager and the head dog trainer there, and I learned all that kind of stuff. Eventually, I got a paid weeks of vacation, and what I did with that was played video games at home. I didn't do anything, but that's pretty much the only time I've ever had a vacation. It's always something that, like, negative that sort of happens that forces me to miss time, and this was just one that I couldn't avoid. Everybody's just like, oh, your body's not 20 anymore. Well, thanks for letting me know. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at right now. So I got a little bit bored, figured I'd do a live stream and talk about some of this stuff. Fran, TLR9, I appreciate it. 9 Lives. Look, PlayStation, they do their state of play stuff. I think that stuff is pretty cool. But listen, were you guys, hit the like button. Help me feel better, man. I would appreciate it. Like some videos, all that kind of stuff. I will plug my buddy Mooch's show today, Crossfire. He talked to me today, me and him DM. It's not like we're still doing M&C, but he's like, hey, there's always a chair for you if you feel up to it. I was just like, like the nighttime stuff, I don't know how you guys are during your days, but as the evening grows on, I feel worse as the day goes on. So You know, it's just been a little bit hectic, and I'll probably guest on there and do some things and help out here once in a while or whatever. But for me personally, I just like doing these little kind of shorter, just me videos, and then maybe next year, maybe when we start getting lots of news, can sort of bring stuff back or whatever. So that's the hope anyway. And my dog whisperer, people have called me that before, man. I've had, you know, my fair share. My job used to be sort of rehabilitating dogs that were maybe abused and stuff like that. It's a very high kind of risk job, but highly rewarding. But there are also the lows of if you can't help every dog, you know what I mean? You like when you're trying to place a dog, there has to be right circumstances and stuff like that. So, have you seen that photo on Twitter when people made fun of PlayStation for having that third-person template, and now every Xbox game looks like Sea of Thieves? Listen, I enjoyed Sea of Thieves for what it was. I actually thought that the game that Rare showed off yesterday deserved a little bit better than to just look like a cookie cutter of every other game they showed off yesterday. So, I'm hoping that game's going to be good. It does, to me, signal that they're going to be able to go out there and show a little bit of stuff sooner rather than later. So I hope that it's not a games as a service game. There's a rumor that it might be, but there's also a rumor that it's an adventure game. So like maybe a shared world adventure game. I don't know. As long as it has some kind of good story, I'm down with it. I actually don't mind Rare's take on that stuff. You know what I mean? So I do like what he's doing. Well, listen, Nine Lives, Sony's getting in transition. They're kind of moving things around and stuff like that. But what was interesting was yesterday for me, some of the more interesting stuff was this is what next generation is going to be, you guys. We're going to have an Xbox Scarlett and a PlayStation 5, and they're going to be so similar. Even look at what they're doing. What are these companies announcing right now, okay? They're both focusing on like no load times, okay? And you know why that's important? Because you have stuff like Stadia or whatever, which is like no load times. So obviously, if you can do no load times on your, on your hardware up front, I think that would really be beneficial. And so I think that that's going to be a big sticking point. So both of these companies, independent of each other, meaning they don't know what the other one's doing, are both going after that 4K, 60 frames, no load times thing, right? They want that. So I found that to be very interesting that both of them are going after that. So what's going to make the difference next generation? Well, it's going to be stuff like VR. So far, Sony's the only one that has VR. So you're going to have Microsoft go out there and try to push their boundaries a little bit and try to get some VR going. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they really need to get some VR, you know what I mean, to compete. It doesn't have to be wireless. I know that Phil's like, oh, well, we would really like wireless or whatever. I just think you got to have an option there, right? And there's so many things. If you make Scarlett right, why couldn't you just have it to where you could plug an Oculus or something into it, right? Like, what would that hurt? I don't understand why that would be a bad thing, especially since they've had deals with Oculus for a while now. So we also saw something that I thought was pretty cool, right? In my opinion, anyway, like the Kingdom Hearts games, those games going to Xbox for the first time, I absolutely think that's a great move. All those Final Fantasy games going to Xbox, another great move. Those Yakuza games going to Xbox, another great move as well. All those formerly, I guess, like only you can get most of them only on PlayStation, right, or PC. But so it's good to see Xbox gamers get them, and they're going to Game Pass. So it's not like you got to spend a bunch of money to try these games out or anything. But after the presentation, Xbox Game Pass fans were very happy because there was a lot of things to be excited about, obviously. They couldn't help thinking about absences of Final Fantasy 14 and, what is it, X1 or maybe 11. It doesn't mean they're not going to reach Game Pass, though, at least in the case of the first one, because as indicated, which I linked this article so you can check it out, it's also going to be available just a bit later and not mentioned at the event, but Final Fantasy 14 is on its way to Microsoft, according to Phil Spencer himself, who declared that they're working with the producer and director of the game, Mr. Yoshida of Square Enix, so that the exclusive PS4 PC game can actually arrive on PS or Xbox One on the date after the arrival of the other titles. And this is what Phil said. He said, I wanted you to know, rest assured that we will bring that game to Xbox. We have a great relationship with Yoshida-san, and we're working through what it means to bring to Xbox a cross-platform MMO that they've run for years. So I've heard a lot of people talk about this game. It's been a big deal for a while. A lot of people play it, apparently. So it'll be cool for Xbox fans to be able to play this game. Again, I never understood why Microsoft wasn't keen on bringing this game over before, since to play it, you're going to have to pay, I guess, a fee to play Xbox Live anyway on Xbox. So, unlike, like the Sony platforms and stuff, for some reason we still are paying for Xbox Live for free-to-play stuff. So, it looks like it's going to actually come to Xbox, and that's a big thing. Those are big announcements, and that's a plethora of pretty decent-sized announcements by Phil Spencer. He was definitely kind of, you could tell, was going in on some stuff like that. I just feel like that's something that he would definitely take advantage of. And I like that he kind of went out of his way to talk about it. So it's positive news for Xbox, even though I thought their show was a little bit underwhelming as well. But, again, to each their own. I liked the pace of the showing that they did. If they would have had some really, really great stuff to show, of course it would have been better. But I did indeed like what they were talking about. And, hey, listen, 9 Lives, you can't even really compare Game Pass to PlayStation Now because they're really two, they're two different things. And so that's something that you kind of have to keep, keep in mind as well, just kind of going forwards. Those were PlayStation exclusives. If you look at were console exclusives, however you want to call it, those Kingdom Hearts games in particular, and a lot of those other Final Fantasy games coming to Xbox, I feel like is a pretty big deal. When it comes to what they're doing, I just think what they're doing is trying to bring as many games to the platform as they possibly can, and that's a very smart move because at the end of the day, they want as many people playing as they possibly can, and I think that that's something that that they're very smart about. You know what I mean? And it was just really cool. But I did really think that a lot of the stuff that Phil Spencer was saying was good. Again, I've kind of I kind of see where they're going from. Also, they're shifting away from like the studio acquisitions and stuff. I feel like they're going to be really they're going to be really pretty big in the future or whatever. Microsoft, they're being pretty bold, and I kind of like what they're doing with some of that stuff. Like in terms of what Phil Spencer is talking about, I'll cover this a little bit more. As you guys come in, please hit the like button and share it out. I would definitely appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Phil Spencer, this is what he said. He says, gamers should, quote-unquote, get used to announcements of Xbox first-party games. During the Inside Xbox live stream, Phil Spencer obviously was talking about the update, and he was talking about Xbox Game Studios. According to him, there's so many games in development compared to a few shows that gamers should get used to this. He also explained that he's been on a plane from Seattle to Tokyo quite a few times lately, and it's great to be able to announce the Yakuza and Kingdom Hearts games coming to Xbox. He also added that he is aware that he has more work to do on this front. He hears the feedback about franchises that gamers want on Xbox platforms, and he's going to continue hard work to bring the games that people want. They've obviously been acquiring quite a few studios over the last couple of years, and they seem to be beginning to deliver results. So this is really cool as well. Again, those were some pretty big games that he is bringing in. You know what I mean? And to say, hey, we're gonna do these events a lot more often now. I feel like that's a really, really big factor in a lot of people maybe determining what they're gonna do. Again, I'm not completely sold on these types of games personally. Like a lot of them, they're going to have to show me something. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to show us anything for a few years on what these new studios can bring. Because if you look at what's going on, and look, this is not necessarily, I hate to be the bringer of bad news, but this is what I've been saying all along. Obsidian Entertainment, for example. That studio, I wouldn't expect anything new from them, like big AAA-wise, for at least 4 years. Reason being is, they've already come out and said, we have 3 teams. An 18-person team is working on Grounded. A smaller team is working on Pillars of Eternity 2 DLC. And most of their team was working on Outer Worlds. So I guess the Outer Worlds team is either working on Outer Worlds 2 or going to start a new project. But you're still, 3 to 4 years away from that point. So, again, it's cool because I think they're going to get a lot of praise for that game, and Grounded doesn't look like a game for me, but it is nice to see them actually, work on multiple projects. And obviously, if a big team like that can do stuff like that, I think it's cool. And then you look at stuff like Rare, they put out Sea of Thieves, kind of a games as a service thing, kind of a niche product. I 100% get that. But when it comes to their other team, they're working on that new game as well. So it is nice to see that their teams are kind of getting stuff in. But when can we expect something big? I know a lot of people kind of said I was wrong when I said that Bleeding Edge was like a AA game, and I think that game went on sale for $30. So it's definitely a AA game, kind of in tune. And it's kind of funny to me. It's very much in tune with what they've been releasing. That's why I wasn't impressed with it. I still think Ninja Theory can do something good. I just feel like for the time being, what they've been able to kind of come out with, like Bleeding Edge, it just looks more a lot like the same to me personally. So it might be good. I don't know. It's not something that I'm going to play because I'm not really interested in that type of game. But again, double A's has not been a problem for Xbox this generation. The big triple A's have been a problem, and I think that's what really people want to see. And so I would have loved to seen something like that from Microsoft in the future, whatever. But hey, it kind of is what it is. Like, yeah, I'm over that little bitterness factor. I mean, Xbox clearly is far from perfect. I just think that that's really smart, and they're confident. I think I like the fact that they are having that little bit of confidence in them about what's going on. So, hey, as you guys come in, please hit the like button. Hey, what's up, Luca? Nice to see you as well. But I do like the confidence that I'm seeing from Microsoft. And, look, you can't really deny. Look, I have Game Pass saved up through 2022. I had Xbox Live Gold till that time, and then what I did was, just for the $1, I upped it for that $1. No big deal. Just something that a lot of people are doing right now. I haven't used it yet. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't used it yet. Maybe next year will be a time when I finally use it, because there's some games that I just, when it used to come to Xbox games, I would get them all because they were kind of all my thing. I grew up with Xbox and have a lot of fond memories playing Xbox, and so of course I'd want to buy those games. But now it's like, a lot of these games don't interest me at all. Stuff like Wasteland 3 I have no interest in, or whatever, Bleeding Edge. But maybe since I have Game Pass, and what's the harm in trying, you know what I mean? So that could be a situation where they do that as well. Obviously a lot of these stuff like Bleeding Edge got a release date of March 21st. Minecraft Dungeons, which I actually might try that because I like kind of the Diablo game style or whatever, that's coming in April. Wasteland 3 May 19th. Grounded in spring 2020. Tell me why, that little indie game, summer 2020. They're going to all be available before the launch of Project Scarlett. So obviously, according to this article anyway, which I think this article is a little redundant with how things are changing with the times anyway. It used to be customary that platform holders like Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo would hold back their killer apps. Well, I don't consider any of these killer apps. This is a WCCF Tech article, by the way. Would hold back their killer apps to bolster a new console launch. I don't look at any of those as a killer app, so that's why I think they have no problem releasing this stuff. So Matt Booty explained why that's not the case with this. He said, "We feel confident about our content pipeline so that we feel we don't need to save everything up for the beat." I guess he means for the release of it. He says, in fact, during the 2019 live stream, Microsoft head of gaming executive VP Phil Spencer joked that he had enough unannounced project to keep busy for the foreseeable future during these events. Of course, Halo Infinite is confirmed to be paired with Xbox Scarlett at the launch. And obviously a next Forza title will come out sometime after that. He also addressed the argument that Microsoft is spending a lot for Game Pass promotions in an attempt to get customers to subscribe to the service. The latest promotion allows you to purchase 3 months for just $1 if you haven't subscribed to it before. You get extra subscriptions or whatever, so blah, blah, blah. He says what's important to understand is that we're 18 months on Game Pass. Netflix over 10 years old. If you were to go back and look at some of the things that Netflix did in their first 2 years, it's easy for people to forget now because it's been so long, but you couldn't turn around sideways without seeing a Netflix ad for this promotional offer or that promotional offer. It was almost as bad as the AOL disc. I'd go pick up my chicken sandwich at the restaurant and it comes with a free AOL disc. Everything was about a free month of Netflix. I think that's a subscription service, energizes, and as more of them emerge and grow, there are different ways of promoting it at different times. We're just in a different phase. They have challenges that are different from what we have right now. There's so much talk about Disney Plus, and they've got a world of challenge there. And for us, we need to do the right thing in marketing our own stuff and cycle of our subscription service. So, again, I feel like with the additions that they're doing, it is really cool. It'll be interesting to see if Microsoft can keep up their friendships and their relationships with with these third-party companies like the Capcoms and the Square Enixes and the Bethesdas, because those are the ones that seem to put their games in Game Pass now, whereas some stuff like EA and Ubisoft and Activision, they don't put anything in Game Pass. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out in the future, because I feel like Game Pass needs more than just Xbox exclusive and indies. I feel like it needs a good amount of these like AAA and AA games from some of these other developers as well. So seeing that they actually put out, The Witcher 3 and some of these other games, I find that to be very, very refreshing, and I think it's super important to see what they're going to be doing, doing that kind of stuff in the future as well. So I like that aspect of what they're doing, and hopefully they can actually do it. Nine Live says, I think it's good to see Obsidian taking a risk. Well, I mean, listen, I wish they would have taken a risk with a game that was a little bit better than that, you know what I mean, or a little bit bigger than that, I guess, would be my kind of way of putting it. I don't hate what they're doing. I just, like, that game's not for me, like a survival game, sort of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or whatever. Not exactly my cup of tea. Hey, everybody that's here, please hit the like button and share out the video. I would definitely appreciate it. You know what I mean? It really does. I'm trying to really answer some of these questions as well. Snake says, I thought you used Game Pass for Gears 5. No, I was going to use Game Pass for Gears 5, but I got a review copy. So, yeah, that's how I did that. It was going to be the first Gears that I didn't buy. I still didn't need to buy it because, again, not only is there Game Pass, but they gave me a review copy as well. Did Crap just tell me why by Don't Not is an indie game? Well, I mean, I wouldn't. It's definitely not a AAA game, So I don't know why they had that listed as an Xbox exclusive or whatever, but it's not really, in my opinion. I like this question. Chris713 says, do you think xCloud killed Stadia before it even launched? Listen, I said this yesterday, right? xCloud absolutely just did to Stadia some pretty incredible things. Stadia is launching with 12 games, and to see kind of xCloud do what they're doing, I really think that Microsoft kind of killed a lot of the stuff that Stadia was planning on doing. I'm not a streaming guy. I'm never going to be a streaming guy. But yeah, I have to admit, they did a hell of a job. They did a fantastic job with all that kind of stuff. And listen, it wasn't like, I understand where people are upset or whatever with, with what's going on in the gaming industry, and they wish, and they wish that Microsoft would maybe do something a little bit differently. I get it. But I feel like Microsoft has a clear plan at least, and that's something better than you can say for the past. Think about this. What was their clear plan in the past? I don't think they really had a big clear plan for the past. At least now with their services and stuff like that, it's like they're trying to get people to sign up for Game Pass. They're trying to get people to do one thing or the other, and I actually do think that that's pretty admirable and impressive of them to do such a thing. You know what I mean? It's just getting people to kind of go on board with that, because it's a change from what we're used to. And I feel like, some changes are good and some changes are a little bit harder to swallow or whatever. But for them to be able to do this, I think it definitely shows what they're going to be doing. Also, it was nice to see them kind of promote price drops for the Xbox One S and stuff like that, They're going to be having the Xbox One S for like $150. That's a hell of a deal. That's a good deal that probably should have happened a long time ago. And I feel like more and more people can get involved now. So I do think that that's pretty cool. And I think that what we're going to see from them from now on is probably a competitive price. And I also like that Microsoft is actually kind of talking about the price and stuff like that. Snakes goes, where was my review copy? Dude, as far as I know, almost everybody got a copy of that. Dirt says, are you still being sarcastic? Crap, Aaron Greenberg confirmed Don't Not game is exclusive. No, dude, Dirt, I was never being sarcastic, man. I know that you honestly thought I was being super sarcastic. I wasn't being sarcastic. I think Xbox is going to be beyond fine, man. Like, I think I'm over the hump with the bitterness, I think some of it has to do with how much time I was doing like YouTube and these podcasts and stuff like that, and I wasn't just able to enjoy the gaming like I wanted to. But now I'm going to be able to get back into that stuff. That Don't Nod thing, listen, I think that's cool of them to get a partner like that. I liked, their games before, some of my favorite games, so the narrative stuff there seems like it'll be a great fit for Game Pass. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm not sarcastic. I did enjoy yesterday's Inside Xbox. I know it's a little bit polarizing. I didn't enjoy everything about it. Like, I wish they would have shown. I hope they have some realistic stuff for next generation. But yeah, man, I like the flow of things. I like what I'm hearing. It's definitely not a sarcastic thing. I mean, sometimes I'm sarcastic, true, but I'm not being sarcastic when I say, hey, I think Microsoft is doing some right things. Also, Phil Spencer talking about Xbox Scarlett Price and power. This is what he had to say, which I find this to be pretty good. So make sure you guys, as you join in, please like it and share out the video. Phil Spencer said, I would say learning from Xbox One generation is we will not be out of position on power or price. If you remember the beginning of this generation, we were $100 more expensive, and yes, we were less powerful. And we started Project Scarlett with this leadership team in place with the goal of having market success. We had a discussion years ago, do we want to do another generation? Yes. And do we think there will be multiple generations ahead of us? I actually think there probably is. So we're going all in. We're all in on Project Scarlett, and I want to compete, and I want to compete in the right ways, which is why we're focused on crossplay and backwards compatibility. So even though I have my own issues with Phil Spencer, he's saying he wants to compete for the first time since 2014. He wants to be in it to win it. So, of course, I'm all about it. Listen, there's going to be PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo and, whatever else. But I like the fact that he's at least stepping up to the plate and saying, hey, we actually want to compete. Is that too much to ask for? This is what I've been asking this guy to do for a long time. Say you want to compete. Say you want to be a market leader in console gaming. Say you want people to buy your damn console, right? Is that so much a problem? And finally he does it. So, of course, look, that's a great thing. You want to be competitive. I like the fact that he wants to be competitive. He says we're going to compete. And he also says there's room for tighter Xbox to Discord integration. I got to be honest. The Discord thing on Xbox sucks. I tried using it to do Mooch's podcast once, and it just is a big joke. You can't even use it. He says there's different voice codecs and stuff like that. So I sounded like crap when I was on it. So, yeah, but it is nice to see him talk about being competitive and going out there and doing what Xbox can do, because I think that that's important when it comes to price. You can't be overpriced. You can't have a price that's going to be too much, so I think that that's going to be really, really something that they have to keep in mind as well. One Typical says, since you enjoy it, would you consider this the best Inside Xbox yet? Let me think about that. The best Inside, I don't know if it was the best, but it was definitely something I think worthwhile to tune in and watch. Sure, it's easy to make fun of it. I definitely see that, trust me. But like I said, I got to see something from Rare, and that something is 3 years away at least. So for me personally, sorry about that. I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, my mic came unplugged. Anyway, so for me personally, I like what we saw. I like the fact that they're willing to show so much that's a little bit further away. And again, if they truly are changing and saying, hey, we're not going to be having these generations traditionally like we normally would, I think that that's cool too. I think that, show some of these things, get people excited. I love the fact that they did that. Hey, as everybody comes in, please hit the like button, share it out. Hold on. If those were the games he was excited about that he didn't show at E3, then Xbox is in a bad state. That's what Mr. Sangpai says. Well, listen, I don't know if that's... Clearly, Phil has a much better idea of what's coming than I do or we do, okay? I don't think that Grounded game looks very interesting at all, but I do think that it's cool that they were willing to show off some stuff, for a change, and I think that it's important to really kind of keep in mind that he was totally against showing anything unless it was 12 to 16 months away. So what I mean by that is, 12 to 16 months away, that is not a long time. Like, you've got to be able to, if you're going into next generation, you have to have stuff to show off and to get people excited. And I feel like that's something that they were able to do a little bit yesterday. Now, of course, it didn't help that it looks like, Microsoft, all those games kind of look the same or whatever. But again, we could see that change in the future, and I do feel like we're going to get all different types of games and stuff next generation. So they probably hear us very much loud and clear when it comes to getting a certain type of game out or whatever. So I do think that that's something that's cool. But I do get the point, trust me, that a lot of that stuff was Game Pass filler or whatever. Like, that game seems like it's a game that Grounded game seems just like a Game Pass filler. Bleeding Edge seems a lot like Game Pass filler, and Battletoads does too. But I guess something is better than nothing at this particular point, and hopefully they can do something. Florenzo says, Phil's idea of a great game is different than our idea of a great game. Hey, that's a good point, okay? But you also have to understand that there's definitely more to gaming than Phil Spencer. Like, he has to understand that, in my opinion. Like, he has to be able to see that people want different things than what he wants to do, and he has to be able to take the criticisms too, that even though he wants to give these studios creative freedoms, you have to be able to cater to more than just one type of audience. So I think we will get that eventually. It's just kind of coincidence that so far everything we've gotten so far seems very kiddie or very like more of a cartoony type situation. Hold on. I saw something and I wanted to respond to it, but Monty says, quit hyping Xbox. Quit hyping up Xbox crap. Listen, dude, there's no hype here, man. I'm just telling you what these people are saying. Like, there's no hype here, man. I'm telling you. I'm not planning on getting a Scarlett at launch. I just think that what they're doing is setting themselves up well. They're not going to beat PlayStation. Nobody has to worry about that, right? PlayStation is going to do well because PlayStation is PlayStation. They always do well. Low-end average gaming says, the best part was seeing that they got a lot of Square Enix games lined up, as well as Halo Reach release. Yeah, you know what? I'm looking forward to the Halo Reach remaster myself. One of my favorite stories in Halo. I can still tell you this much. When it came out, I had, I believe, the Xbox 360 Slim, and you needed the hard drive for it, and we played it on the hardest mode with my friends, and it was like, it was amazing. We stayed up all night and beat it in one sitting. So that'll tell you right there how much I loved Halo Reach. I hated the armor abilities, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to playing that. Albert G, he says, I feel bad for hardcore Xbox fans' future in gaming. Well, we don't know what they're going to have, man. Listen, Fable's coming back, but again, I wouldn't expect that to look realistic. Of course, you're going to have more Halo and Forza and Gears. So really, it comes down to what these other studios are going to be bringing to the table. Social John joined, says 6 years in AMD, and there's still people believing in this guy. Have you seen 2020, Neo, Final Fantasy VII, The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and the PS5? And you guys will be talking about Game Pass games. Well, listen, I think it all depends on what you want. Like, I'm not going to knock Game Pass. I think that there's a possibility to devalue your games, and Sony should be wary of that. But for these older games, like these Kingdom Hearts HDs and these older Final Fantasies and stuff like this, and Yakuza games, it makes the most sense to release them Game Pass, right? Because that way more people have access to them, and it's a genre. These styles of games aren't usually widely played by Xbox gamers for the most part, so it'll be nice to have them in a place where people can actually play them. Pixar Box 1X. I agree, TailR9. It's a little bit weird because nobody's going to be 100% happy all the time. So, it's going to be one of my one of the things that I have to kind of point out is, like, Sony doesn't have to do what Microsoft does, and Microsoft doesn't have to do what Sony does. They can play off each other and kind of take after each other with certain things, like, PlayStation Plus versus games with gold and these type of things. But at the same time, like, just because Microsoft is doing things day and date in Game Pass doesn't mean that Sony has to do it, right? And just because Microsoft is streaming on your toilet doesn't mean that Sony has to, right? Like, they can still do different things and different things like that. So, Mr. Miracle says, even a reset era, these devs that have both dev kits say the PS5 is stronger. Next E3 is going to be bad. If the next Xbox is not more powerful, it will be terrible for Xbox. It will be very bad because power is at least a reason kind of to get something. We know that Sony traditionally has the games, but if you have Microsoft actually be the ones that have the less powerful console and they also lack games other than like Halo and Forzas to start, it's going to be a problem. Let's see. One Typical says, in a perfect world, Phil would set up a State of Xbox interview where he addresses the issues over these past few years and puts on a 5-year roadmap. I would love even a 3-year roadmap, right? Like 3 to 4 years. Let us know what's coming, man. You got something hardcore coming. Like, you have to wonder if it is a coincidence. I think it's a coincidence that some of these games that we're getting tend to be more of these kind of like kiddie games or whatever. But at the end of the day, I feel like that it's too early to tell if it's more than that coincidence yet. So we'll have to wait and see with that. Dog of War says, I would rather have one AAA blockbuster rather than 30 indies. I agree 100%. Ernesto says, destroy all humans and medieval are great remakes that are true to the original. I agree 100%. I agree. Hold on. Mr. Miracle says, Lamar Jackson is my fantasy QB. The guy is the MVP. You won't find any arguments here. My favorite player, my favorite team. Absolutely great people. Crap, my shopping delivery is late. I blame Phil Spencer. Hey, man, I hear you, dude. T-Rock says, it seems like Microsoft is setting up their library to be more games for anyone versus the shooter box. They are banking on Game Pass and xCloud. They need to be in every market. You know what? I agree. Chris says, most of these games look like they could run on a potato, don't need an X for it. This is my main complaint, okay? A lot of these games that we're seeing, as you guys come in, please hit the like button. You have my fantastic gratitude. Share it out. We're almost up to 100 likes. We could definitely do that. The thing is, 2 years ago, I bought a $550 console called the Xbox One X. All that power, right? We got these consoles, the most powerful console ever, 4K, blah, blah, blah. And then you see the stuff that they're showing off since that point. Take away the racing games. We basically got one Gears game that took advantage of it, and that's it. So, again, that is a little bit disheartening. Of course, Red Dead Redemption 2 took pretty good advantage of it. But at the end of the day, Microsoft needed to do a better job at supplying content that you couldn't get on another console, and content that could really showcase what this thing could do. And I feel like we didn't really get that. Like, some of the games that we got that did were third party and pretty big games, but those are kind of few and far between, because for every Red Dead Redemption 2, you had something like Rage 2, which, although a good game, was 1080p 60 frames on both the X and the Pro. And I feel like they needed to do a slightly better job at that. So that kind of sucks that they were, they haven't been able to take a bigger chunk of that away. Most of these games look like they, crap, do you think they will peddle out old Halo games again now with Scarlett bells and whistles? Well, I mean, aren't they already 4K? So I don't really think they can do much more to them. So I think they're just going to continue to kind of, evolve. I think didn't they fix, like, in the original Halo 3 in 4K on it as it is? So yeah, I don't think they're going to re-release them. I think they're just, the Master Chief Collection kind of is what it is. Social Joint says, Game Pass are all timed. All these Square Enix games are not going to stay on there for a long time. You're right. I mean, that could be the case as well. We might be in a situation where these things might leave relatively soon. But I think that Microsoft paid enough money, right, to get these games to stick around at least for a little while, because they had to make it worthwhile. So, like, Sega, who owns, like, Yakuza, like, they probably had to pay them a good amount of money to get the games on Xbox to begin with. And so I feel like they probably spent a good amount of money to achieve that. So hopefully they stick around for a little while, at least give people a chance to try them out if you haven't tried them yet. They're not bad. One Typical says, if Microsoft wants to have power crown crap, they have to have a secure third-party deals and enforce them to provide the best graphics. The Outer Worlds and Modern Warfare situation shouldn't be happening. Power. I agree. Listen, how the hell are you going to have an Xbox One X and then not have the best versions of the biggest games of the year? Like 2 years in, I don't understand it either. The multi-plat machine will never see its potential. Yeah, unfortunately, that's why I'm keeping mine longer than expected, right? So it'll only be 3 years old by the time the Scarlett comes out, and so I have no real need to upgrade. I'm sure the Scarlett will be fine, but if Microsoft has taught me anything, it's that they probably won't have anything to go for Scarlett for a significant amount of time. So I might as well just play those games on my X. Let me see. Xbox, yeah. Dog of War says Lamar is exciting, but I fear he'll start getting injured. Well, he's a different player than Mike Vick. You have to keep that in mind as well. He's a better thrower and more of a threat there, and he's more elusive and I think faster. So, you can't limit the way the guy plays. I feel like he plays a certain way, and so far he's not had to really take anything. My harmonica is back home still. Like it's in a box, so I'll have to grab it and try to kind of get something going or whatever. Power's not everything if you don't know how to use the power. I agree. Listen, if you guys are into like gaming and things like that, I think that power has its advantages, and it's cool to go, well, multiplats will play best on my console, blah, 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 because I think that's really smart. But at the same time, you have to be able to deliver something that people want with that power, and Microsoft has had kind of a bad time to do that. And haven't done the smartest job at having stuff to actually play to showcase the Xbox One X, right? Why should third parties do that? That's really Microsoft's job to have great stuff to show off. T-Rock says, I think those Square Enix games are there to tide over Game Pass until the first party can catch up. Plus, it's good fan service for people who never played them. Most Xbox people probably haven't played a lot of these games, It's just these games haven't really released on the platform before, and some people are just like Xbox gamers or whatever, and so they want to play these games for the first time. Boom, you get yourself a month of Game Pass, and you can at least try them out, if not beat as many as you can, if they're good enough or if they're into your, up your alley or whatever. 9 Lives, he says, smart move to put all the Kingdom Hearts game in Game Pass. I agree 100%. How far have you made it in Death Stranding? I am about 8 hours into Death Stranding, and I like it. It's super chill. It's super relaxed. I think that it's one of the most interesting games I've ever played. It's certainly weird, but it's definitely something that I've enjoyed completely, and I'm happy that I got it for free. If I can say one thing, like I'm not saying you shouldn't buy this game. I'm saying it's different, and it's something that is definitely, interesting. If you're somebody who likes different type of games, I would definitely suggest picking this up. Maybe wait till it's on sale if you're not 100% sure. But yeah, I absolutely like it. Captain Thug says, Phil saying he wants to compete is what's expected with next gen around the corner, yet he didn't say he wants you or anyone else to buy their next console. They want us on their service. Well, I'm sure they want us on multiple services. They want us to pay for Xbox Live. They want us to pay for Xbox Game Pass. Whatever they can do. Hell, they want us to buy the next Xbox through a service and pay them monthly increments, you know what I mean? So that all access stuff. So that's something that we have to keep in mind as well. And you know what? I am not really sure I want to do that. So, hey, as everybody gets in here, please hit the like button as we close into 100 likes. It's looking great. Oh, Corey, he's definitely faster than Mike Vick, dude. He's way faster. He's way faster. How far? Oh, okay, I already told him. Yakuza and Kingdom Hearts on Xbox, but Kingdom Hearts 3 caused me to no longer care for the series. I've never played any of them. No, I haven't got Jedi Fallen Order yet. I am completely, again, so some of you guys might not know, but my job is where I get my money. And so I haven't been able to work in over a week, and so I can't buy Fallen Jedi Order. That's why I tried to mooch it or whatever. So if anybody wants to, MOH Space Crapgamer on Xbox Live. I actually would like to play the game, but again, all this other stuff comes first, and when you can't work, you can't pay your bills. And so that's unfortunate. So money that I have in savings or whatever goes to pay bills, and unfortunately gaming comes in last. So unfortunately I got to get better soon so I can get back and get back to busting my butt, helping animals, and and being able to buy games that I want and stuff. You know, unfortunately some games I can get through requesting codes and stuff, but not EA for some reason and not Activision. So those are two that are tougher for me to achieve. But like in the past, I've gotten Madden before, but yeah, it's very difficult to do that. And so it's like for me being kind of laid up, not the best situation for trying to get new games. You know what I mean? Would I like to see? Would you like to see you get behind the camera and talk games? That's the idea. I actually had some videos ready to go. Then a lot of stuff happened, just personal stuff. You know, like took some hits and stuff. You know what I mean? It's just it's kind of bad. And then with YouTube changing their terms of service and stuff like that, it just hasn't been great. Yeah, look, the cult of personality thing with Phil Spencer, I used to I understand it, but I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something that like I think Phil's a decent guy, but you have a lot of people who treat him like he's the Pope or something. You know, like they'll jump in front of him to deflect anything, any kind of negativity or whatever. But yeah, you know, I think he's a decent guy, but you know, I'm not a huge fan of the guy personally. But hopefully he can bring some good things for Xbox next generation. Hey, I love The Mandalorian. I watched the second part today. I thought it was really, really good. I like that show a lot. T-Rock says, I paid for Death Stranding knowing I could trade it in after 48 hours. After the opening few hours, I wasn't going to trade it in. Exactly. So what you get kind of hooked in, and it's weird as hell, but it's definitely worth it and something that I think a lot of people would enjoy. Give it a chance. If you're just the type of person that's tired of, you know, the same thing over and over again, go ahead and try it. Snake says, you read my comment about Red Dead 2 Online. Is it really shaping up to be awesome? I don't know. I've never played it online. I played it through the single player, and I loved it. I thought it was like absolutely one of my all-time favorite games. But playing it online, I don't know if that's something that would really appeal to me. Well, no, Corey, I saw a side-by-side. If you saw Lamar Jackson's 47-yard touchdown run this past Sunday, they applied that one with one similar to Vic, and you can just see that Lamar seems much quicker to me anyway. Game Pass is a great value for gamers, but is bad for gaming overall because it seeks to promote quantity over quality. Just look at the kind of games Microsoft revealed at XO. You could be right. I would hope that in the future that they don't go out of their way to sort of, you know, go, hey, you know, well, what we're going to do is we're going to make a game specifically for Game Pass or whatever, right? Like, that's the thing that I hope that they never do, because I feel like that's something that would definitely hurt Game Pass. Like, it could devalue the game. Like, I felt like Gears 5 got devalued a bit, and the reason why I say that is because the previous few games outside of Forza Horizon 4 were all like mediocre, lower level AA games or whatever, bad scoring games, and so people get used to that. But I guess to turn the culture around, you got to start putting in great games. So we'll see how it goes, you know. You could get Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for $45 on Instant Gaming. You should check it out. Yeah, I mean, I could, but still, no money. What game would get you to buy Scarlett? They would have to, dude, they would have to launch with a Fable game and Halo and Forza, and they would have to announce stuff coming, like new AAA games coming like that year, you know, to get me to get a Scarlett at launch. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think XO, like I said, I think it really depends on your taste. I didn't think it was terrible, but I do think that they're running into this problem with the types of games, the stylized of their games, and I think that needs to change a little bit in the future as well. So hopefully they can do that. Yeah, Stadia I think is dead. Nobody's talking about it. Let's see. Death Stranding is really good in a weird way. It's hard to explain. I agree. It's just one of those games where you play it and you're just like, holy crap, it's pretty damn good. Brian says, talk about wrestling, not football. What should I talk about wrestling, man? I'm actually loving the Wednesday night stuff between AEW and Next. Next, like, is killing it in my opinion, man. Next has done a really, really good job. So, you know, hopefully they can continue to do that. But yeah, I love it. I love it's paying off for me, right? Like, as long as you're, like, I know there's certain fanboys of each promotion or whatever, but if you just enjoy wrestling, I think there's no better time than right now. And let's see. T-Rock says, in 200 hours in Red Dead Online, since the summer update, it's more like story mode, tons of stuff. Hey, man, maybe I'll check it out. I don't have a problem with that. Darksiders Genesis on Stadia, I agree. Oh, here we go. Monty says, Crap, what games are you looking for on the PlayStation 5? Man, you name it, dude. I'm looking forward to the next God of War. I'm looking forward to Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Whatever they can put out. The next Spider-Man. If they do another SOCOM, there's a rumor that they're going to do a SOCOM game. I'm looking forward to anything that they can put out. I just think that Sony just knows how to do great software. And I know that's not really a dig on Microsoft. I'm just saying that Sony knows how to do software incredibly fast and incredibly good. You know what I mean? They really get it. They understand it. Did you see Phil said Gears 5 outsold Gears 4? No, I didn't see that, but Gears 4 didn't sell that much. They say I believe it's down there at like 2 million or something. So I don't know if he's talking about at launch or if he's talking about overall. I'm not really sure, but they never really talked much about Gears 5. Like Gears 5 just totally fell out of the top 30 or whatever. So I don't know what they need to do to kind of fix up that franchise, but most people I know who used to love that franchise don't even bother with it anymore. So that's something you got to kind of keep in mind as well. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I think that it's a fine game. I just think that it's not in tune with the other games in the franchise that we've gotten. So hopefully they can like fix it up or whatever. I just hope that they can do that and get something kind of straightened out down the line. Because I feel like it's still a viable franchise, but they really casualized it and put in too many transactions and things like that. You've got to, you got to give people a little bit more credit than that. Let's see. Who won between Braun Strowman and that boxer guy? Well, Braun Strowman got counted out, and then they teamed up and did a tag team match on Raw, and they won. So yeah. I don't like the way they booked Strowman, by the way. I hate that. Brian Wright says Microsoft knows how they're just chasing a pot of gold. I mean, they clearly are, but it's okay. Sports One guy says, I'll guarantee you all this, that Xbox cartoon game Everwild. I'll probably beat a lot of the PlayStation realistic games. I'll take Zelda Breath of the Wild clone any day than some garbage realistic games. Well, listen, I give Rare a little bit more credit than other people will, because I like Rare. Like, you're not going to see Rare do a super realistic game. It just doesn't make sense for them to do that. And so I don't understand why people were kind of expecting them to do that. So hopefully they continue to, do their own thing. Rare has a certain style about them, and so they stuck to that style. And I actually liked the look of Everwild. I thought it was really cool. Eddie T says he was vague about sales, just said Gears 5 sold better. So he could have just meant sold better at launch or whatever, because we know that Gears 5 is completely out of the top 20 on the new NPD, right? So it went from number 7 to out of the top 20, and it went on from the top 10 on Xbox best played games to out of the top 30. So I don't think it's doing incredibly well. And I thought Gears 4 did pretty piss poor as well. And considering that was 3 years ago, there's probably more Xbox One owners now, given it should probably sell better. But the fact that it hasn't, or whatever, it's something that could definitely be interesting. Aussie Gamer says, maybe if you could deliver partials in Gears 5, you might like it. Well, you know what, Aussie? If I could have actually progressed the game and not had the game lock up and make me restart it and lose my progress like 4 times, maybe I would have liked it a little bit better. Maybe if they allowed me to turn off crossplay on every game mode and not charge me $5 for an animation that was free in all the other Gears games, I would have liked it better. Huh? What do you think about that? Yeah, they're trying to chase trends. I didn't get that either. Crap, were you a big fan of Gold Dust? Not really. Not really. Sports Guy says Recore wasn't too bad, but it needs some fix, which they actually did. I actually liked the game. It's pretty fun. It's probably not one of the best games, but it's still a good one. Here's the thing with that game. I feel like Recore was okay. And I think that it had a potential. Okay, it had a potential for it. The problem that I had with it was that terrible engine that they used, and the fact that they made it really repetitive with, oh, go back and get some cores, go back and do this, go back and do that, search for cores. And I know they fixed that eventually, but it was like, who the hell really wants to keep going back for more cores and more this and more that? It didn't make a lot of sense to me. And so, yeah. And, I just felt like there is something there. There's something there that they could do to make the game better, but they didn't really take the time. It was like their budget just was not worthwhile to them to do something to actually do it. Dual Purpose says maybe he meant more active players via Game Pass. Yeah, you know what? This could be a problem as well. No, I was not a Val Venus fan. Get out of here, dude. I like the typical guys, man. I was like an Undertaker fan. I was a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. A fan of The Rock. Even before that, I like Bret the Hitman Hart a lot and Mr. Perfect. So yeah, and even in the '80s when I first started liking wrestling, it was like Hulk Hogan and those guys and Sergeant Slaughter. It was like those guys were over the top personalities, and I had a lot of fun, like kind of watching it, and I had the figures and all that kind of stuff. Everybody hit the like button. We're close to 100 likes. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, Dual Purpose. It does look like we're going to get a new SOCOM. I'm not covering that one. Dual Purpose. Chris says, and no DRM and no use games rumored for Scarlett. Is that true? I doubt that that's true. Aussie says, what do I think about that? Amazing. I wonder why these issues only happen to people hating on the game. Dude, they aren't issues only from people hating on the game. Go look at their forums. Go look at their own tweets, dude. The coalition keeps tweeting out, oh, we're sorry everybody's having these issues with not progression, not this, not that. Those aren't people that were hating on the game. I couldn't complete the game. I wasn't the only one. They had issues. These are well-tracked issues. There's numerous articles speaking about these issues. It's not something that people made up. They launched the game. It wasn't ready for whatever reason. I wish that they would have waited a little bit. But, hey, at the end of the day, it's still, what did it again, at 84 or whatever? You can't really complain. Hopefully they can fix it for the next one, Get stuff out there a little bit better, just get it fixed or whatever. Yeah, man, I like Randy Orton, dude. I think Randy Orton is pretty cool, dude. I think he's a hell of a wrestler too, man. I like what I see from Randy Orton. I think he does some really, really great stuff. So, at the end of the day, like I said, Microsoft, they have a lot of stuff going for them. Kind of just going into this, like they've got some things, some important things to sort of look forward to with the future, and I hope that they can continue to do that. I really do hope that they can continue to do that, and I hope that Phil and company kind of learns from some of their mistakes that they've made this generation. Like, if you go back to last XO, not the one yesterday, but the one before that. So if you go back to that XO, it's pretty clear that he's like, oh, I see people want some game announcements, right? And then they delivered some this year, right? Maybe they weren't ones that everybody wants, but I still think that they did a decent job. And do that, you know what I mean? I think that would be very, very smart to sort of do that, and I would love that. I'm going to answer some more questions, though. If you guys got any more questions, what did you guys think in the chat? Let me know what you guys thought about yesterday's XO. Y9 says, imagine if Mass Effect and Dragon Age stayed exclusive to Xbox. One of my biggest things that pissed me off, hold on. Okay, I actually like that comment, Dual Purpose. For some reason, it blocked it. But listen, I thought Concrete Genie and Medieval Remake were good. I thought Everwilds looked great. I think it all looks good. You know what I mean? Like, I agree. A lot of people are hung up on, what's a AA, what's a AAA. To me, it doesn't really matter. I just think that Sony's done a much better job at getting out games that are both AAA and, having that buffer stuff at the AA level. So I feel like they've done a really great job with that. Just kind of in my opinion. Snap into a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah. All Digital says Gears 5 is an okay game, but it feels a lot of the same, especially the controls. They're a little clunky. I agree with you 100%. I feel like, again, that the game itself was, was fine, but those old tank controls and stuff are pretty bad. Hey, we got over 100 likes. Please hit the like button, and I would appreciate it. Yes, I would. I would definitely appreciate that. You guys are pretty damn awesome. How old is your dog? What kind of dog? I have a rescue. He's kind of a mix, a little white fluffy, white little fluffy dog. One of those kind of Shih Tzu kind of mixes or whatever. And he's 7. And he's he's been my best friend for a long time. So for those of you guys that don't know, I had a rescue dog. His name was Elvis, and he passed away like in 2012, and he was like 13 years old, and that was very rough. And I was like, man, I never want to get another dog. And then I had ran into this lady who had this dog, who the owners didn't want him, right? And so she goes, well, you can have him if you want him. And he just was so kind of adorable or whatever, and I was just like, oh yeah, you know what, I will. And so me and him have been pretty much inseparable. In fact, he's laying right here next to me right now. And whenever, the thing is, he's used to going with me. Whenever I drive somewhere, he comes with me. Whenever I do something, he pretty much comes with me. And when I'm not feeling good or whatever, this dog is so up my ass, it's not even funny. Like he knows when I'm feeling bad or whatever. So it is cool to have that like little best friend come with you. And plus, like, unlike my other dog Elvis, who I love to death as well, he was like a hound dog who was like 70, 80 pounds. And my little dog now, his name's Butters, and he's like 15 pounds. So he can definitely get around and go places where my older dog couldn't. So that's pretty cool, and he comes with me all the time, and he's a real good dog. He's got some stinky breath though, so yeah, sometimes. Dog of War says XO is a Cartoon Network dumpster fire. That's hilarious. Florenzo says new games don't look like they can compete with the one Sony is getting. Well, we haven't seen anything yet. I'll agree that Sony won this generation hands down. Microsoft will never be able to come out with something to compete with The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Spider-Man. They'll never just be able to do that. Next generation, we'll wait and see. I'm not totally sold on most of those studios that Microsoft has, but we'll have to see how it goes. Chris says they need to get rid of them cringy presenters who are trying so hard to be cool. I agree. I'm not a big fan of the presenters. They kind of suck, but it is what it is. Like you just kind of deal with it a little bit and just put up with it. XO itself was not the problem. Phil Spencer's hype. If the show caused a black backlash, I agree. It could be that way. Y9 Power, he says too many cartoon games. The cart game was okay. The xCloud happened the way it was predicted. Yeah, listen, I said pretty much what we were going to see. I knew it wasn't going to be like a great show or anything, but I felt like it was a decent show compared to some of the other ones that they've had. But Sony's lower budget games look good and are not copy and paste cartoons. All Xbox games yesterday looked the same. Big difference between Concrete Genie and Medieval. I mean, you could be right. Like I like the look of Rare's new game, though. I think that might be AAA. We'll have to see. World premiere. Dual Purpose says, I'm going to tell you this about XO19. It didn't make me want to get an Xbox. If that is the point of the show, it failed in my eyes. I don't think they're trying to sell you an Xbox at this point. I think they're trying to just kind of save a little bit and give people who bought an Xbox and already own an Xbox a reason to actually play theirs. Whether it be through a Game Pass or whatever. But I do think that next generation, they obviously got to have those AAAs on point. Let's see. What's up, Ian? I appreciate you stopping by. Y9 Power says, I think those cartoon graphics were for the base Xbox One to display 1080p properly without dynamic. It could be as well. Power Gamer says, cool to hear about your dog crap. Love dogs. Oh, me too, man. It's been, you know, that's what I love most, man. Like, this whole thing, when I started doing YouTube, was just a way to kind of express myself and have fun, you know, because I had to deal with a lot of stuff. Like, you know, I used to work close with the Humane Society for a time as well, and there would be dogs that would be abused, and I'd have to go there and help rescue them or whatever. Not even just dogs, man. Pigs, goats, cows, whatever. It doesn't even matter. You know, animals' lives are so important. So, you know, hopefully they can continue to do some great stuff, you know, in the future. I love animals, and like I said, that's my big holdback. Like, I would love to be able to play this new Star Wars game, but it's like, I haven't worked, you know, and to get people to cover for me is expensive. So I actually lose money every day that I can. So it's not some BS excuse. I've worked, you know, my whole life. You know, I was 16 when I got my first kennel job, just cleaning up dog crap at a kennel and stuff, you know, like cleaning them out with like a pressure washer and stuff like that. So, you know, I definitely, you know, I'm not afraid to work. It's just, it sucks as we get older. You know, I'm 37, and the body doesn't respond like it used to, you know, because I used to play football as well. So I've had some injuries before, you know. That's where the arthritic ankle comes from, and you know, I've sprained my knee a couple times in my life, but never as bad as this. And it makes it difficult to be able to do the things that I want. And you know, if you have depression, or if you're kind of depressed easily, then being stuck inside nonstop, especially living in Florida, sucks. So yeah, you know, that's about as real as I can keep it for everybody right here. You think Xbox games will go to PlayStation next gen? I think we'll know within the first few years, right? So the fact that yesterday Phil Spencer said, hey, you know, Xbox xCloud is getting DualShock support, which surprised me, and it's getting Game Pass support, it's getting xCloud support. That basically tells you everything you need to know. They want to put that as many places as they can. Does that open it up for the Switch? Yes. Does it open it up for the PS4? Yes. But I think that those only happen if Nintendo and Sony allow for total integration with Xbox Live. And I don't think either one of them will do that, because Phil Spencer even said this when talking about Stadia. He said, we're not going to give them just a Forza or Halo or something like that. They'd have to have everything Xbox. You know, they have to have Xbox Live, Xbox Serve. Like, so I don't think that those studios and stuff are going to actually do that. So hopefully, you know, hopefully that's something there. Z390 says Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order run at 720p on Xbox One S. Ouch. Ouch. Dual Purpose says, why did everyone act like something good was in this show? They claim Microsoft is flying out press. It was to be for something big, and then mobile games were shown. Yeah, again, the problem, I agree 100% with you, is it did seem like they were more apt to kind of show these games. It could have pretty much run on anything. Dude, I have Zoo Tycoon. I played the hell out of Zoo Tycoon. I thought it was great. Listen, I'll give you a little secret. The first Connect, I was a big fanboy of that, right? I played, you know, hey Skittles, like those games and stuff, man. I had a good time with it. So yeah, definitely keep in mind that was me for a while, man. I was playing these games and just having a good time with that stuff. Chris says, I always had dogs growing up, but my wife's allergic, so if you ever see me with the dog it means she left me. Hey, dude, you know, Kevin Mack goes, come talk to me when you're 48. Yeah, I will. Dude, they sell allergy medications, man. I don't know that I could live with that, man. Stadia is DOA in my opinion. I wish I was going on Mooch's show so that I could argue with this a little bit. Yeah, I wish that I could, you know, to argue with him with this stuff. But yeah, it's definitely something that I gotta say. I feel like Stadia is so DOA and just not really worthwhile. So hopefully, anyway, you know, like, it's not that I actually do kind of want it to fail just because I'm not a fan of this stuff. But you know, anyway, it's just one of those things. Everybody hit the like button, share it out if you don't mind. You know, I would appreciate that. I think you guys are great. You know, I like doing these little shows. I won't be able to do one this weekend, but we are going to do M&C Sunday morning. So you guys can take a look at that and kind of mark that down and get excited about that. So yeah, that's very exciting. We're gonna have a really good show for you guys there. You know, just kind of looking forward to it or whatever. Anyway, but yeah, again, there's a lot of cool stuff. Some stuff not so cool, but at the end of the day, you know, I just feel like what we've seen from Microsoft hasn't been too bad, to be honest with you. I feel like they've done a damn decent job with getting some of this stuff out and some of these news and bits and pieces and stuff out. So very interesting to say the least. And again, very happy to see that you know, Microsoft is at least paying a little bit closer attention to what the fans are asking for. You know, never hurts to sort of you know, listen to the fans. I always feel like that's the best medicine for everybody. So yeah, definitely excited by that. And you know, I'm going to answer a few more questions before I get the hell out of here. Julia Hardy tried too hard to look like someone trying to fit in. Shannon Loftus looked like she missed 2 weeks of sleep. Dude, don't get me started on those two. Like, Julia Hardy thinks anybody that looks at her is a misogynist, and Shannon Loftus is just, she's not a good person. I was happy when I thought they put her in like Siberia or something, you know. But yeah, she looked rugged. Seth says, crap, why does the title say exclusive when it's actually console exclusive? There's a big difference. Dude, what's it matter? Console exclusive. I mean, some of these were exclusive, right? Like, I don't think that the Kingdom Hearts games were on PC before, so they were PlayStation exclusive. You know, kind of is what it is, man. I don't know about the other ones, but it doesn't really matter. You know, there's only so much you can put in there. Plus, I linked the article. People are free to check it out. One Typical says, I got a rabbit named Phoebe, and she's an absolute sweetheart. I had 2 rabbits growing up. Really cool stuff. It was a bit of a farm situation when I was younger, man. We had all these different animals. My brother, my older brother, had a pet scorpion and a pet tarantula. I hated those damn things. I always had, like, fish, or we had mice, or we had a pet rat named Ben once. Really cool stuff, you know. It was like, I had a pet turtle growing up. You know, just good times, man. I just remember we were poor growing up, but we always had a lot of cool animals and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. Am I a cat person or a dog person? I'm more of a dog person. Like, my family likes cats, but I'm more of a dog person. Y9 Power says Crossfire X was Xbox exclusive. Well, Neo Geo, he says, how's Phil listening to fans with no AAA announcements? Well, people wanted any kind of announcement. And I feel like that Outer or Everwild game is something that we got. That at least we got that, right? So I think at least we got that, and it's something to kind of it's something that we're kind of talking about anyway. So Crossfire X, is it? I mean, that game doesn't look appealing to me at all. So I just hope that I hope that that's something that dude, Seth, I think you're just trying to bust my balls, man. I put it as PS4 exclusives, like. Who cares? Console, whatever. The link is in the description. We talked about it. There's various ones that aren't on PC that we talked about, so it's all good, dude. We need another first-person shooter like we need a whole... Yeah, listen. It kind of is. It kind of... Let's see. What's with all the Xbox titles going cartoony all of a sudden? Only the usual 3 have more realistic graphics, and even Gears 5 went more colorful. Well... I think that it just is the games that are ready right now, right? I think that the games that are ready, the certain ones, the bleeding edges and this kind of stuff, these games are just happen to be, you know, the ones that happen to be ready are more cartoony. I think that it tends to be just a coincidence. I don't think that it's really, you know, I don't really think that it really has anything much to do with, you know, them saying, okay, let's only do kiddie games or cartoony games. I just think that it turns out that those are the type of games that that are ready right now. So yeah, that's what I think. I don't think that it's like purposely done or anything. Just my opinion anyway. I don't think that those are that's the plan. Like, I don't think that they were like, hey, so what's the plan? And then, hey, let's put out a bunch of cartoony looking games. I don't think that was like the master plan or anything like that. I just think that that's the way it worked out, unfortunately. And I know people are going to give them a hard time because, look, The problem is, I'd even give them a hard time on that, right? But at the end of the day, I like Medieval and Concrete Genie, so I don't really have a problem with those type of games per se. I just feel like you've got to be able to have more than that as well, and that's what Sony does best because they have so many great games. And then you look at Microsoft's side, and they don't have those other games that are in there to really kind of show off. Let's see. PlayStation has had indies all generation, yet Xbox fanboys only called it the indie station. Why is it suddenly cool when Microsoft does it? I don't think indies are cool to begin with anyway. So, because realistic graphics takes more effort, time, and R&D to make. Xbox doesn't want to invest and put the effort into it. Well, I mean, Gears, I guess. But, I mean, the Forza games as well. So I guess it really just kind of depends. Enrico says, is indie games normally cartoony by nature? They don't have to be. They don't have to be. We will all see some of their brand new acquired studios have already announced their projects. And yes, they are cartoony games. Jet Set Radio. Look, I don't mind it because I thought Sunset Overdrive was one of the best games I played this generation, and that was pretty cartoony. So it doesn't really, like, they don't necessarily bother me, but when that's all you have, I can see it as a bit of an issue. The thing is, Phil Spencer will bring up something like, what's up, I Build Your House? Phil Spencer will bring up something like Hellblade and go, hey, Hellblade, that's a realistic looking title. We own that studio. Okay, so that's, I think, something that Phil Spencer would say versus, sometimes some of these other people would say, you know what I mean? So I do get it, but I just think that it's just one of those things where people kind of have to kind of get over it or whatever. But anyway, hopefully you guys can hit the like button, share it out. I would appreciate it. You guys have all been rocking for a very long time with me, and I'm very much appreciative of it. Thank you guys so much. I want you guys to have a good day. I got stuff I got to do in terms of, people are going to be here soon, and I'm going to have to get going. So, what's the best indie I played? Firewatch. I don't know if you guys heard of that game. I didn't expect to go into that game liking it. I love Firewatch. I thought it was absolutely incredible. I had so much fun with it. I beat it. I got almost all the gamer score for it. I just thought it was really, really well done. So, yes, I thought Firewatch was really cool. Everybody, hit the like button. What do I think of the new version of Captain Spirit Successor? I think it looks interesting. I like those narrative type of games. I appreciate everybody for coming out here today. I got to get going. You guys have a great weekend. M&C Sunday. We'll talk to you later. Peace out. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out. Rack.